everyone, and welcome to another edition of Aspire to Inspire, an Embrace the Power network production. I'm your host, Dr. Jennifer Blaylock, and I'm so excited to have with me tonight Mr. Kewaan K. Drayton.
Kewaan, yeah, that's
Kewaan
it.
K. Drayton, who has incredible stuff to share with us. So glad to have you here tonight. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Dr. Jenn, for the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to share with our viewers a little bit about you.
Okay.
Aspire to Inspire is really focused on highlighting people in the community who are doing incredible things, who are
hmm
taking life and making the most of it. And you are certainly somebody who's doing that. You are an entrepreneur, a business strategist, a consultant, and a mentor. In 2022, you were named Entrepreneur of the Year by the Savannah Chamber of Commerce, which you reside
hmm
in Savannah, and you are, I know you do consulting, and you're focused on developing impactful business strategies for early stage startups using
hmm
proven, inexpensive guerrilla marketing techniques. So tell me about, I think you're a serial entrepreneur, right? Tell me a little bit about how you got started, how you got passionate about starting your own business and then helping others to start their own business.
Yeah. So, again, thank you for allowing me to, be on your platform and to talk about the things that I do. This is awesome, and I'm happy to be here. But for me, I originally got started when I was around. I've been working since I've been like 11 years old, and I started out working at a barbershop, a local barbershop in Savannah called It's Official Barbershop. It was owned by one of my mentors, Ray McClellan, and he gave me the opportunity to just come into the barbershop at a young age and kind of learn a wide variety of things. Kind of taught me a lot about life. And being in the barbershop, I would sweep floors, and when someone finished getting their haircut, I would brush them off, and they would tip me, $1, $5, and that's what I did, on the weekdays after school, and also on the weekends. So while I was there, I said, I got to see how far I can really like push this. So then I started selling like sodas and snacks and all these different things. And that's kind of where my entrepreneurial itch came from. And I've just kind of been, it just kind of stuck with me. Back then, I hate that I didn't know that it was entrepreneurship back then, because I'd probably be a multimillionaire right now if my brain had developed that way. But it didn't. It wasn't until I got to high school when my brother and I decided that we wanted to kind of get into film and video production. I've always been, a pretty relatively well-known guy in school. And my brother has always been really technical with like film production and learning how to edit and do video work and stuff like that. So we came up with this very interesting like deal where it was like, if I found the people that wanted video work done, he would execute on the work, and we would split the checks or the payments down the middle. In high school, we were just getting cash because it's not like we had like debit cards and stuff like that. So uh, anytime we would do video work, so for example, athletes will want us to help them create like highlight reels for college, or
So important.
aspiring,
Yeah.
yeah, aspiring musicians will want like music videos for their work to highlight what they're doing. And we would just take those projects on, and we would do that a few times throughout the semester, and it started to add up. So that's kind of how we got into it, and that's honestly how we still continue to grow our business today. Like I said, Red Eye, we've been running that since 10th grade, and we have just grown it, and we are still running it today.
Tell us the name of that company again. That's actually one of the things. You and I had met online on LinkedIn. I'd seen you be
hmm
recognized and joined in the applause, but I met one of your interns who was
hmm
taking video at the Southeast Georgia Leadership Forum, and it
hmm
was a great event. I know you were also a part of that. Tell me why, as an
hmm
entrepreneur, it's so important to be involved in your community, to network, to do things like be a part of the chamber, but also why it's important to cultivate and build the next generation of leaders through internships.
Yes, so the internships are very important. We work predominantly with interns at the Savannah College of Art and Design, as well as Savannah State. Haven't had a chance to work with many from Armstrong yet, but I hope, or Georgia Southern. So I hope to have the opportunity soon. But Internships are, I remember how important an internship was for me when I was in college. I had the opportunity to intern with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I got my degree in criminology. And I just remember how much opportunity that provided for me and how much of a leg up it gave me when I finished up school. So it's very important to me to always be reaching back out and giving other people the opportunity to see how we work, learn from us. And honestly, I think that I benefit more from the interns than they benefit from us, just because they know so much more than they have their finger on the pulse of what's happening with
They
technology,
keep us
social
fresh.
media.
Yes.
And so, they're the interns, but I'm really the intern because I'm just learning from them. And they like to come along on certain projects. You met Moni, who was filming for us at the Southeast Georgia Leadership Forum. And I just wanted him to have the opportunity to connect with some of the people that were there. Also, just to see why it's important to attend some of these events, because those events like that have always been very, very important for me, and they have had a huge impact on my career. So it's just a great opportunity to show people how to network. And networking is something that a lot of people don't get a lot of people don't feel comfortable networking. And I think the more you do it, the easier it gets, especially if you're an introvert. So a lot of the students are introverts because they're used to, being behind the scenes or being behind their phones or computers. So when they actually get out and get to interact with the community, they get to see like, oh wow, like this can really speed my career up. All it takes is meeting the right person one time, and a lot of opportunity can come from that.
I love that. And you mentioned something I really am interested to get your perspective on. I know you have a degree in, I believe you said criminology,
Hmm.
right? You are an entrepreneur. You have
Yes.
you have multiple areas. What has been your best teacher, or how have you learned the skills that you needed to be an entrepreneur? Was it sort of a balance of college and mentors and sort of experience? Talk to me a little bit about that, because we both know today there's a lot of, do people really need college? My background has been as a higher education administrator, and I can see both
Mhm.
sides of it, right? I think we need to do a
Same.
better job of getting people the experience and the education, but I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yes, my perspective, this is something that I like to talk about a lot just because I do think college is necessary. I think college is very important. I learned, even though I got my degree in criminology and I'm not really using it as directly as people may think, it is still very critical to entrepreneurship, because if you think about it, crime and poverty and entrepreneurship are very closely related. People who have their own business, their own things to worry about, they aren't out committing crime. So the more people we can get to be interested in entrepreneurship and business, the less crime, the less time people spend committing crimes. So it's very important for me to go and spread that narrative more, to show people that this is why we should be pushing entrepreneurship. But as it relates to college, I think college is important because you learn a lot of different things in college. So for example, with me, I learned the import. I wasn't a super strong student. I wasn't a good test taker. Standardized tests were not my thing, and still to this day, I have a fear of taking tests and having that pressure of the time and the scoring and all these different things. But what I did learn was that in college, I learned that I'm a very, very good networker. I learned that I'm a very good connector. What I used to do in college was especially in math, I wasn't a good math student. So I knew that if I came to class, my teacher knew who I was. I sat in the front row. I, played a part in the class. I showed effort. I knew that at least I would be able to get a C. Until this day, C is you look up and down my transcript, the only C that I have is in math. But I still passed it. I didn't have to take it multiple times like a lot of people had to do. So it showed me that even if you aren't a strong student, you have to make up for it in other ways. And I placed a heavy emphasis on connecting with my professors, going maximizing office hours, and being able to, just make those connections so that way they know that, Kewaan, like this, he's an interested student. He's really, really wanting to learn more about the content, about the materials. So, that's literally how I made it through college. So, you know, that's one of the things that I want people to know. And then another thing is that it's not about going to college. Well, it's not about going to college right after school. It's about, you should focus on when you go to college,
I agree.
because I remember when I was in college, I was on a track to, get my degree. I meant to get my degree in criminology and then go study to get a master's degree in either criminology or something else,
Sure.
psychology. But what was
Sure.
important was the time afterwards that you had to like grow to
Absolutely.
learn more about like what it is you want to do next. Like some people go directly into their master's program, but for me, it was important for me to get that real world experience and learn more.
100%.
And so now my goal is to. I was just admitted into Georgia Tech's executive master
Congrats.
in business
Yes.
administration because I have learned so many things about myself and what I like to do and my interests in between this time of graduating from Florida State and getting um, my bachelor's degree in criminology, working in law enforcement, quitting law enforcement and working, just in the community and deciding to jump into entrepreneurship full time. I know I've had that time to know what I want to do next. So now my next move is more calculated, it's more intentional, and I know exactly what I want to do with it. So that's my perspective on college. It's like give yourself that breathing room in between choosing, what to do next or what to study next.
I love that. And it's so profound because I often think about at the age of 18, making that lifelong decision and choice and knowing, like you said, often we have that bachelor's degree and it was a foundation, right? It built some
Mm-hmm.
things in us, it exposed us to some things, but we may not end up using it in that direct line because life is not always a direct line, right? We zigzag and we try different things and that exposes you to lots of different areas. Tell us a little bit about some of your business accomplishments with the business, sort of where you told us where you started. It sounds like you've got some family connections in there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's particularly with the consulting elements and helping to build other businesses. What does that look like? How did you decide to take, your model and then say, hey, I can add value to other aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, it started out with I realized after a couple years of being back in Savannah and doing business and learning how closely integrated the community was with the business community and how like the philanthropy and the community the community service aspect how it all tied together. So first thing it was important for me to learn like that when you're in a specific location you can't just jump in and focus on how can I grow my business. You have to focus on how can my business grow the community. And when you change that perspective, it changes the way
I
you do
love that.
business. So it's like when that finally clicked for me, I said, okay, like a lot of people coming into Savannah wanting to do business, they don't really know like how this works, because Savannah is a unique community. But when you focus on adding value versus focusing on what you can get back, it changes how you approach so many different things in business. So I wanted to make sure that people understood that, and then I wanted to make sure that people understood how to get started because I started each of the businesses along with my team. Obviously, we started each business with less than $5,000. We started Red Eye with just a camera that JT got for Christmas. So one of the things that was important for me to coach other people up on was one of the biggest barriers people have when starting business is not having the capital. So there is a unique strategy that you can use to get started with little to no capital because there's so many creative ways to jump into business. Right now there's a lot of the baby boomers are like retiring and they're dying off, and a lot baby boomers have the largest population of businesses. So with these people retiring and with these people dying, who's going to take over their businesses? So sometimes becoming an entrepreneur or jumping into business can be as simple as forming a relationship with the boomer, you know, and adding value to them. And who knows, that can either form a partnership or that could turn into somebody just believing in you enough to turn their entire business over to you. So there's just all these different creative ways to jump into entrepreneurship um, without it being an excuse that you don't have the capital. So it's very important for
Sure.
me to coach people up on those different avenues to make sure that everybody's empowered with information. And I do that by working with Score Santa. I do that by working with the chambers of commerce, and that's kind of my way of giving back.
I love it. How did you create your messaging and craft your unique selling value proposition to say, hey, in the age of influencers and everybody having their iPhone, you need our specialized services, right? And that's
Hmm.
sometimes where people have their gift, but they don't know how to communicate it
Hmm.
effectively to others to say, this is why you need to invest in and pay for my services. How did you come to know your value, your worth, and then be able to transfer that to others?
Yeah, well, I feel like you have to find your value first through just giving it away. Like you have to give it away. Um, and as you give it away, those people who you're giving it away to, they validate whether your services are helping them or hindering them. So it's like you pay attention to those things. You really Entrepreneurship is just a huge testing phase of like doing
Sure.
something. So it's just like you take the time to really learn about what it is that you're offering and figure out how you can add value with that. And then you pay attention to how that's helping people and you test it. So you keep reaching back out to those people and asking them, hey, how's everything going? How are you using that information that I'm giving you?
Yeah,
how's this working into your system? And most people say, well, I haven't had the chance to really apply it yet. And that's their problem. That's not a you problem. But you get some people who come back and they say, hey, like, this really, really worked, or this was a perspective I just did not think about. And the more you hear that, the more it pushes you to continue doing what you're doing because it's validation that you're on the right track. And that's what you're looking for in business is you're
yeah,
constantly looking. I know in personal terms, people always say you shouldn't seek validation, but in business, all you seek is validation just
absolutely.
because you aren't there. Other people are buying your product. And if they don't like it, then
Yeah,
you don't really have a business model. So
absolutely.
that would be my main takeaway is just like take the time to get to know your audience, cater to that audience, and in the most positive way possible, exploit that audience.
I love it. No, and I see you do that. You are such a great networker and you show up for people not just when you want to sell the product, right?
Of
Even,
course.
you are that ambassador. So I love that. Why was it
Mhm.
important for you to do this in Savannah?
Because I'm born and raised here in Savannah, and Savannah's a great community, very supportive. Ever since I've been back, the city has just embraced me with open arms. Any relationships I've been looking to connect with, they've welcomed me, they've taught me, they've helped me, learn how the community works. They've allowed me to be a part of it, and that's just something that I'm truly thankful for, and I want to always be whatever the community gives me. I want to 10 times that back. It's very important that I do that. And although my I have interest in you know uh, getting into other markets, Atlanta, South Carolina, Florida, I'm all Savannah's will always be home. As I will always be back in the community, giving back here because it's very important to me. And there's also a significant amount of growth happening here, and I want to be at the
A
forefront of that
hundred.
as it
Yeah.
continues to grow. You know,
I love it. I love it. So, a lot of people are interested in being an entrepreneur. They like the idea of being their own boss, but I
Mhm.
know you can understand and relate this. There are days when I'm sure it's tough to muster up the energy. Maybe a project didn't work out so well or a client's
Mhm.
being difficult. What inspires you? Who inspires you? How do you keep going and then keep building? What are those things that keep you motivated?
Yeah, so what keeps me motivated is knowing that, that what I'm doing is so directly tied to adding value to the community, to my team, to, tourists, so it's just really the having the mindset that you don't wake up and say like, hey, like how am I going to make the most money possible? You wake up saying,
Right.
how am I going to add the most value? And when you do that, when you change that perspective, and just simply changing that word can really, really like be the thing that says, okay, I got to get up and keep going because, I got a community that support me. I have a team that support me. And, if I don't get up and grind, why should I expect them to get up and grind? And if they aren't grinding, then I have to get up and pick up that slack, which is fine because you can't expect everybody to go 100 miles an hour all the time on top of dealing with their own life situations and things like that. So you just have to get up and say, no matter what it is, I got to have enough for me and have enough for, 3 other people or however many people that is. And, just knowing that that's what it is, and knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel if I just keep grinding it out.
I absolutely love that. And you are such a servant leader. That's so wonderful, because a lot of times people don't associate leadership as well as servant leadership with
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurialism, right? There's that sense of this is about me, but really
Mm-hmm.
when you are able to move that center to this is about others, and then that will
Mm-hmm.
make people gravitate towards your business. So as we
Absolutely.
close up, I just want to say thank you so much. You're so inspiring. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you, what sort of services, if they're looking for this, they can book a strategy session. How will you elevate their business game, take them to the next level, or even as an individual, just kind of looking to figure out what are my gifts and talents?
Yeah. I always tell everyone, I would talk to everyone a few times, and all you have to do is give me a call, shoot me an email. Let's set up a call. My email is kd@kewaandrayton.com. Just contact me. Let's have a call, and that's how everything starts. There's no specific formula to it. It's just, let's hop on a call. Let's jot down some ideas. Let's talk about what it is that you're doing, and let's have a brainstorming. I call it a strategy session. We could just go ahead and like hammer it all out for a good 30 minutes, and see what comes from that. And then after that, if you want to continue working with me or not. But I have 30 minutes for everybody.
I love that
We just have to
attitude, and I
schedule
think
it.
that's right. Get on the calendar. You got to
We
book
just
it.
have
You
to
got to book
schedule
the
it.
time.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
ladies and gentlemen that are out there, I want to tell you that Mr. Drayton, CEO Drayton, Kewaan Drayton, you got to get to know him now, because I don't think that 30 minutes is going to be available for long, but he does have a servant's heart, very inspirational. Thank you for being a guest on Aspire to Inspire and Embrace the Power Network Production. It's people like you that are building our communities, that are helping grow talent, the next generation of talent. You've got next in so many ways. I look forward to learning more about what your next steps are. So thank you again, everyone. I have been your host for Aspire to Inspire, Dr. Jennifer Blaylock. Keep looking for inspiration. It's everywhere, and it's mostly inside of you. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.